Hello! We are back with the Bloom Room. And of course, I almost forgot to hit record. So that's kind of why there was like a 10-second countdown and then the song started. Oh, well, we'll get this down.
We're here.
We're here. We did it. So this week on the Bloom Room, I'm so excited. We have Kelly Simmons, who is not only a fellow Poppy, she is the author of 6 books. The most recent one is Not My Boy. And she's also a member of the Liars Club, which is kind of fun.
I need to know what that's about later, Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a story.
It is. So that is really fun. And they have a podcast called the Liars Club Oddcast that I was on once. And that was very fun. It was a very, very fun group. Yes. So here we are. We've gotten this far. All right. Are we ready for some Poppy news?
We are. We're ready for Poppy news.
Poppy news.
So before I start quickly, you can see we have a whole new setup here. We've got some pantry secrets and book snacks for you this evening. And but first we need Poppy news, since we especially already did the banner. All right. So first of all, our giveaway winner from last week, The Nature of Fragile Things by Susan Meissner and The Family Ship by Sonia York, goes to Shelley Justice. So Shelley.
Yay, Shelley! I know Shelley.
Do you? Okay, so please send us a private message with your address and we will send those along. Congratulations. And in Poppy news we have, and I have them written here just like a news person, except, they have fancy teleprompters. So Amy, the Kindred Spirits Supper Club, was featured in Midwest Living magazine. Fantastic. Ooh, congratulations.
Show and tell.
Show and tell is the best. All right, we have Jessica Strasser, who's A Million Reasons Why, which is out in 2 weeks, I think. Got a starred book list review.
Yay!
Congratulations, Jessica. Christy Woodson Harvey's for people who like a good bargain for a book. Her Feels Like Falling is $1.99 right now.
The ebook, not the paper, but I'm just showing you what I have.
Yes, I loved the book. I read it, reviewed it. You guys get the book. It's $1.99. And then last piece of news is 3 Words for Goodbye. A novel coming out in July with Hazel was picked as a She Reads most anticipated book of 2021. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. Congrats.
Thank you. And with that, let's go to book recommendations. What are you guys reading?
Awesome. Kelly, why don't you go first if you're ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I'm reading this. We Begin at the End, which it's gotten a lot of praise. It's basically like a literary crime novel about childhood friends. It always sounds like, oh, I've read that before, but they do it always differently. And it's written by a man, which I'm not going to hold that against him. But
who's the author?
Chris Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
France Whitaker. All right. Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't read a lot of books by men.
Me either.
I very rarely. So yeah. Well, we have to give them a shot every once in a while.
Mix it up.
Yeah, no, we do. I'd say about a third of what I read is by men, actually. But that's sort of a conscious thing. I really try to branch out. Part of that is because I'm a freelance editor, so I like to make sure I'm reading in a lot of different categories so that when I'm working on someone's manuscript that isn't published yet, I have some real intel to give or some real advice.
Yeah. So you get a male student and then he suddenly wants you to read what he's read, and I'm like, oh,
right.
Boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you work at Drexel University too, right, Kelly?
Yeah, and I had a male student last semester, and I was like, it was rough, man. He was like, have you read this? Have you read that? I'm like,
no.
Time to catch up on that, right?
Correct.
Of course, maybe he needs to read a few female novels too.
I did make that point.
Good. Excellent. Amy, what are you reading?
I am currently reading, we talked about it last week, In a Book Club Far Away by Tiff Marcelo. It is out April 6th. Last week we mentioned it is a Book of the Month early read pick. I just started it yesterday. I love it. I love Tiff's books. They just speak to me. This is about 3 friends. They're all in the military or married to somebody in the military. And something happened in the past that caused rift between 2 of them. And then now in the present, one of them is having a personal difficulty in life that's bringing them all together. So it's kind of told back and forth between the past and the present. And it's wonderful. I love everything Tiff writes. So that's what I'm reading.
Something happened in the past.
Something vague. I don't know yet.
That influenced the present, and all hell breaks loose, right?
Oh, yes.
So I am reading, I'm going to get closer because I'm a little bit far away. Can we see this?
Ooh.
Sort of.
Betting woman?
So you can see there's the ring light there is causing a little bit of it. Anyway, it's called A Betting Woman, and it's by Jenni Walsh, and she wrote actually a duology about Bonnie and Clyde. That I loved, and she sort of continues her streak with unconventional, boisterous kind of women that go out west with this book, a novel of Madame Moustache, who was Eleanor Dumont, and she was the very first croupier, or the very first person to run a gambling table in the U.S. For blackjack. So she heads out to San Fran after her family is lost in a fire, and she sort of reinvents herself. And it's the dialogue is very snappy. It's it's a fun, great read. I just said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago that I don't think we have enough fiction set in the Wild West. It's one of those things that I feel like New York is always saying it doesn't sell, but I'm like, bring this on. I want something that's not all in these same few locations, right? And this delivers. You've got a lot of the scenery, and then you have all this fun gambling stuff, and it's this badass woman. And
have you read Outlawed, Heather?
What's that?
Outlawed. Have you read Outlawed? It's a retelling of Billy the Kid, but with women.
I have not. Ooh, I need to read that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like it's insane.
I will absolutely put that on my list. Yeah, I'm kind of in that. I'm in that mode right now. And
yeah, it's totally the Wild West. So
awesome. I have to interject. I forgot to start streaming at the same time. We're recording. So for all of the people who I just realized I just started streaming, I'm sorry that we started without you. I will be posting the entire video to Bloom. We're still learning. So it's still a process. So I apologize, everybody. Love you.
Remember.
It is a lot to remember. So go back and watch the first 7 minutes after.
It was brilliant.
It was the best you'll ever see.
Best 7 minutes of your life that you're going to get.
Actually, the snacks are coming up, so that's
you didn't miss it.
I have to say one last thing about this. It's not out until June 1st, so pre-order. All right, there we go. That's
all right. Woo-hoo! All right.
So,
speaking of snacks,
yes,
let's move along to our Bloom Room treat.
Yes, baby. All right. So I think I'm going to start, and I'm going to start because I have a million things here on my counter. So we were talking about what we like to snack on while we're reading. And I think it depends on your mood, right? Sometimes it's like a cup of tea, maybe a little muffin, or it's some popcorn and something bubbly like a soda or seltzer or whatever. But sometimes you're home on a Friday night, or during the pandemic year, you're always home on a Friday night, and you feel like you need to jazz things up a bit.
There's a cocktail coming, I think.
There is a cocktail coming. There is a cocktail coming. It's a bookish cocktail. It is a chocolate martini, because who doesn't love a chocolate martini? So we're going to start with this, and this is the Tirani, and it is a chocolate syrup, and it's Italian, actually. I buy the dark chocolate. They have caramel. They have, I think, milk chocolate. They might have one other one. And you put it, I think it's technically for coffee, but like any good chocolate thing, it can go in whatever you want. So What you do with the chocolate martini first is you drizzle a little chocolate around the glass. I tried this many times and I was quite bad at it. So here's the first.
I think that looks great.
It does. It looks fabulous.
No one is drinking out of that glass. It looks like it needs to be washed.
It'll look better when you put the drink in it.
Yes.
Okay, so then I tried one more time. It's not as easy as it looks. There's a puddle of chocolate at the bottom.
Well, good. I want that there.
This one's a little better. I was trying to get like the rings.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. And then I finally got a real martini glass. See, I got the round stemless because let's face it, if you're going to go upstairs or you're going to sit on the couch or you're going to sit in the tub and drink your martini and drink your read your book, like you don't want this.
No.
So
martini glasses are awful.
And this is not bad, but it's not great. So here's a tip. First of all, put the glasses in the freezer first because then they're really cold. So as you drizzle, it sticks a bit better.
Yeah.
Second of all, maybe not buy this kind and buy Hershey syrup. I don't know. That's very liquidy though, so it might just run. I was thinking it would be better if it's a little thicker. Like do it at your own pace. So the great thing about chocolate martini too is that you can mix up the different ingredients. So the very first thing you need is a shot of vodka.
Yum.
I chose Tito's because it's like high quality, gluten-free, American made. Love it. You can use either creme de cacao de cacao. Do you guys say creme de cacao? Creme de cocoa?
Cacao!
Probably. It's probably technically cacao, but anyway, creme de cocoa.
That's such a weird word.
I think I say cacao. I say cacao.
It is cacao. Okay, but I bought the Godiva, and now Godiva, there's white chocolate, there's milk chocolate, and dark chocolate. I'm a dark chocolate girl, so I bought the dark chocolate. Need a shot of that.
Yum.
And now this is where the variation comes in. So the really classic one that you find at restaurants usually does a shot of Bailey's. I bought a tiny little thing because I like Bailey's, but I don't do a lot of Bailey's. So I bought a little one.
That's just not enough Bailey's in my world.
So the other,
I get the Kirkland stuff in the keg.
how about this? This is big for you. So then also you can do a chocolate raspberry and do Chambord.
I love Chambord.
Grand Marnier, and you can do a chocolate orange, which is great. I think I'm going to do Bailey since I went out on a limb and I bought a whole shot of it and poured that in. All right. Shake it up. Make sure you hold the top, you guys, because once I didn't and it sprayed the kitchen. There's a little bit of ice in here. You want ice. That tiny bit of water sort of cuts a little bit of the alcohol that's in there. So
the 5 shots of alcohol.
Right? Which terrible glass do we want to go with? I'm not sure.
Well, what do you want to drink out of?
I think maybe it's going to have to be this one since I'm not in the tub and I'm not,
Yeah.
All right. So there it is.
Not in the tub yet. We don't know what's going to happen on the show later.
That's totally happening later. All right. Can you even see what this looks like?
Yes.
It's hard to tell.
It is.
Looks beautiful.
It looks yummy to me.
It's
I drink
delicious.
it.
So you can also do like a fancy rim if you dip this in a little bit of water first and roll it around in sugar and cocoa powder. You could shave chocolate on the top. All those fancy things that I'm not going to do right now because I have 37 glasses on my counter. But anyway, so that's my like I'm in on a Friday. I'm gonna read all night. I'm gonna chillax, and I make a chocolate martini. What about
that?
You
sounds
guys?
amazing.
And
Kelly,
then
what do you make?
You can roll in sugar before you go into the tub, like rim.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not making any snacks.
Amy.
I'm not as chefy. I'm not as chefy as you ladies, but
Yes.
I have one tip. And then I have one brand that I really want, one savory and one sweet. So
yummy, perfect.
So one of the things, when I eat and when I read, I have this thing, like you've got to keep your hands, you got to have like one page turning hand and like one dipping hand, right? Right,
because you can't have Cheeto dust on the page turning hand.
Yes.
I'm with you.
It's like when you're making, chicken Parmesan, you have one wet hand and one dry.
Yeah, I'm with you completely.
So one of the things I really do like is popcorn. I've really gotten into popcorn. And of course, because I grew up very close to the Wisconsin border, I also love cheese. But
yes.
Cheese doesn't always agree with me. It's not always great for the diet. So my kids turned me on to this.
Oh, it's Nooch.
Nutritional yeast seasoning. And it is a miracle on popcorn. And I was shocked. I so didn't want to like it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Place cheese on popcorn. But I swear it really, really does the trick. It's like no calories. It tastes delicious. So I put this on.
I've heard that.
It really does work.
I've not been able to make myself buy it yet.
I know, because I love cheese, but sometimes you can't do cheese.
You gotta balance it.
So wait, what's the brand name of this? Because I missed that part when I was running up the stairs.
Bragg nutritional yeast.
Okay. Oh yeah, my mom does that. She puts nutritional yeast. She said it's really tasty and it's healthy. Really good.
Some people do it on pasta. I think it works best on popcorn. It's a great popcorn option. So, because
it's got that yummy, savory.
Yeah, it's salty. It's got a real umami, cheesy kind of vibe to it. And I don't like air popped plain popcorn, dull with nothing. No, nothing. So. No. And then the other thing that I love, I'm obsessed with this brand of chocolate. I'm absolutely obsessed. And maybe you know it. It's Tony.
I'm getting closer, like I can get to it.
I know,
what is that?
Tony's Chocolonely. I discovered it in a bookstore, which is one of the reasons I think it's hysterical. It's super thick. See how thick the bars are?
Wow.
And they remind me a little bit of the chunky bar, like from my childhood.
Yes.
It comes in 6 flavors, but there's a flavor, like everybody in my house loves it and we can't keep it in the house. My favorite flavor is called, and I've never heard of this before, dark milk chocolate. So it's 42%, and it's got pretzel and toffee.
Yum.
It tastes like Chubby Hubby ice cream, which is my other favorite thing.
Oh, that's just amazing.
I love Chubby Hubby. Yeah, totally.
That sounds amazing.
And it's a great brand. It's one of those, no slave labor, pay everybody the right amount of money. It's a real great, awesome, liberal mom brand. So. Yeah.
I don't. Just put the pen in my food processor.
Well, dark chocolate, I can't do the super dark chocolate. I don't like it. If it's over 70, I can't handle it.
Over 70 is a lot, but this, I love the 56 to 70 range.
Yes, I'm with you right there.
42 is beautiful because it doesn't taste like milk chocolate, but
because milk chocolate is nothing.
It's just blah.
I can't. It's sugar.
Might as well be white chocolate at that point.
Right. Okay. I actually think that if you're going to do milk, you may as well do white.
All right. Should I do mine?
Yes, please.
I'm sitting
fancy setup.
Yes, I'm sitting next to a pile of cheese, and this is killing me, people. So I'm going to put my camera a little bit different so you can see my fancy food processor. I am going to be making a port wine cheddar cheese spread. It's something, I'm at the weirdest angle right now, so I'm sorry. It is something really common in Wisconsin. I mean, you get it everywhere, but sometimes when you go to supper clubs in Wisconsin, which is a type of restaurant in Wisconsin, you get it served. So I'm kind of big on that right now because my next book has supper clubs in it. So port wine cheddar cheese spread. You need a food processor. And I'm going to put in a half a pound of cheddar cheese chunks and 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And I'm going to be all fancy, and it's sitting on a paper towel because I'm classy. And I'm just going to dump it into my food processor.
It is in your office. To be fair, it is in your office.
It is in my office because I just couldn't quite kick my family out of the kitchen.
Well, we often cook in our offices, right?
Hey, it is a book snack, so you never know what I'll do. And I'm using you do want an older cheddar cheese because you want that tang. And I'm using a Hook's 3-year-old cheddar. And then earlier today, I made a port wine syrup that I'm going to stir in after.
As one does.
As one does. This is, I boiled half a cup of port wine with some brown sugar until it was this.
Yum.
And it's really important that you can do those little paths. That's how you know you've done it enough. The first time I made this, I didn't boil it long enough, and it was just liquid. It was still good, but it was just liquid. I'm also going to add some fresh ground pepper. It's a real cooking show here, people. I'm doing it live.
I didn't know that there was butter in this.
I didn't either. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in every
I'm glad.
spread. They might do other things, and it's important that you use real butter. Do not use any margarine or weird vegan spreads. If you're eating cheese, you use your butter.
That's what I thought. I thought it was cream cheese. I would have bet money on cream cheese.
No, cream cheese. I wouldn't. No, I think you just want to have something soft and spreadable.
That's what I thought. I'm not advocating.
Okay, so this is going to be really loud, and I'm sorry. So. Yeah. You got to blend it, and I have to pause and scrape. This is a very important part of all food processor things.
Amy, I'm looking a question while you're doing that. So Hook's cheese, is that Wisconsin cheese? Because I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Hook's is a local. It's made in Mineral Point, Wisconsin, which is like 45 minutes, an hour from my house. We have an abundance of really great cheese. It's embarrassing. That's Wisconsin made. Every grocery store will have like 3 cheese sections. You have like the basic cheese section where you're going to find your Kraft and your Sargentos or whatever. And that's still pretty good. There's still some good Wisconsin cheeses you can find over there. And that's by the dairy section. But then usually by the deli section, you'll have like all your foreign cheeses. So your Goudas and your Bries and all that. And then there is usually this is Wisconsin cheese section. And it's just really, really fun. And a lot of them, they have all these little signs. This is 15 minutes away. This is a half hour away. It's great. So I do try to always buy local cheeses. So I have to keep so I'm sorry, I have to keep pureeing. I'll do my little puree dance.
Do it.
It's not cooperating. This is what happens when you cook in real life. Things happen. And it's all supposed to be room temperature, so it's been sitting out for a while. So this should go pretty easy.
You need more butter.
Don't have any more butter.
Darn it.
I know.
Meanwhile, I'm literally taking the chocolate.
Is this what it was like for Julia Childs?
It was. You like dropped raw chickens on the floor.
What?
She always made a mess.
Literally dropped raw chickens on the floor. Like
she did. She's awesome. And I am a little no, actually I'm not tipsy yet. I am drinking port though, because I had that bottle of port that I used. So you got to put it to use. I think I needed to pulse. This is riveting television. Sorry, everybody. How do they do this? They probably have one that's almost completely done when they do this.
Probably. They do. They have like one that's completely finished and then one that's half finished with everything measured out.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. They are.
I'm just about done. It's just about there. It's going to be good enough, darn it. All right. Chunk. All right, so then I'm going to dump it into this bowl and try not to cut myself on the blade.
Don't do that. But Julia would do that, though.
Julia probably would.
And then she'd have a whole bottle of wine, and then she would just
go with it. Oh my God. She was a gift to the world. All right, we'll scrape that out more later. And then, so here it is in the bowl. And now I'm going to pour that syrup over it.
Yes, do it.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, I have to set it down to scrape.
So you don't actually pulse it with it in there?
No, you could. But you really want to leave it so that there's some streaks.
Yeah, you want that swirly look,
Yeah.
right?
You want the swirly look. So now I'm just gonna kind of stir it a little bit. So I have some streaks. And I'm flinging stuff all over my office. My dog is gonna be so excited.
I love those cheese balls though that are like that. Yours is
Yes.
just fresh and homemade. All right.
Right. So I
And
mean,
you-
it's not perfect. You know, the last time I made this, it whipped up beautifully, and it didn't have the issues I had. But because I'm doing it live, what are you going to do? And then I just take, because I'm having, you know, I've got a book in a hand, I just take my cracker and I scoop.
Just get in there. All right.
Yeah, I totally needed to be pureed more, but that's okay.
You know, you could, I mean, that seems like something you can make like any time because you always have cheese, right? And you always have butter, right? And once you've got the wine, you know, it's there.
Yeah.
And sometimes
And
you need
you
to whip up a quick, yummy little
appetizer.
snack, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a version of this, which is perfect for after you have a party and you have a lot of leftover cheese and leftover wine. Because it's not so much about the kinds of cheese and kinds of wine you put in. It's just about X amount of cheese, X amount of wine, some butter, maybe a clove of garlic, and you give it a whirl, and it's just sort of this magical little spread, which is basically what this is. And then you just sort of eat it. It's so good. So yeah, that is a book snack I'm going to eat right now.
That's an elevated book snack. You ladies got it going on, man.
Your chocolate is super elevated. I'm all about
I made it myself.
Kelly, so I need to know. I want to talk about your new book. So it released, Not My Boy. It released in January. Yes.
Yes, correct.
So just a couple months ago, and as an author myself, I know that there's always something behind the scenes going on that other people don't know about it. An inspiration, a thought, a struggle, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Can you tell us a little something about Not My Boy?
Well, I'll share this story because since you are a historical fiction author, you are very familiar with research techniques. And of course, I don't do as much research as you do because I usually write novels that are set in the here and now. But, you know, you got to do some, right? And there's a pretty pivotal scene in the book. It's about a boy and his mom who move into a neighborhood next door to the woman's sister and her kids. Like the sisters want to raise their kids together, but as soon as they arrive, all hell breaks loose. Something happens in the neighborhood, and both families have family members who are accused. So it pits the sisters against each other. But anyway. The people in the neighborhood are all kind of interesting, and there's a scene with it's very important that has all the men in the neighborhood at a poker night, and it's the kind of neighborhood where everybody walks on these paths, you know, to get to everybody's house, and it's great for book clubs and poker nights and parties because you can get drunk and like, you know, stagger home, stumble home. So anyway. This is a long way of saying that I really wanted, because I don't know that much about poker, but I wanted to go to a poker night. I have lots of guy friends. So I kept asking people, hook me up with a poker night. I want to go to a poker night. I want to, you know, I need to see how this works. I want to talk about walking home, and I want to talk about to a neighborhood poker night. And I thought this is going to be so fun, like a bunch of guys drinking. You know, the inside scoop. No. But I needed to know how they behaved and what they drank and what they talked about. And I mean, it was really a different kind of world for me. And I could not network my way to one poker night. Not one. And I truly believe that they didn't want me there. I truly believe that
they didn't want a woman watching it.
They didn't want anybody else's wife or anybody else's friend who's writing a book that might, you know, like, I think that they just clammed up and said no. So that kind of made me angry. So I didn't get my poker night, but, you know, it happens. I had to invent it. So I use
That's all right.
Through the pages to find that scene and see,
Yeah, it's not really, it's not like a huge part of the book, but I learned a little bit about poker.
Yep.
I thought, I Googled things like what do men drink? What do men eat?
Yes.
How to throw the perfect poker night, stuff like that.
I don't think they worry about that. See,
I think some of them do. I got a little intel from some guys that I talked to because, some men are real foodies and, some of them do. Some of them don't, I'm sure.
Yeah, because there's a ton of poker in my second book, and that's more tournament poker than local game night poker.
Yeah.
But my husband used to do a ton of poker. He could have used them. He could have told you exactly what they talked about.
Yeah,
I often get the summaries.
So yeah,
I've learned.
Usually my research takes me into more crimey places and not, just trying to get the locations right and some historical facts and things like that. Trees, like I always struggle with what was in bloom? What do they smell? I'm not really good with botany. Like I don't know, I have a friend, we go on a walk and she's like, oh, what a gorgeous flowering tree. What is that? And I'm like, why do you ask me? I don't know what anything is. I know what a rose is. I know what a hydrangea is. That's it. I don't know anything. Forsythia.
So do you have a Google history that probably has you on an FBI list somewhere?
Oh, totally. Because I used to spend, tons of time at the library too, just so I could look at, just look deeply into things because I don't know anything. I really know no useful facts other than chocolate. And
those are very useful facts.
That's extremely useful. And Kelly, your writing is beautiful. If you guys have not read one of Kelly's books, I highly recommend them. They're not just a murder mystery or a domestic suspense novel. They're really beautifully written. They have a lot of lushness to them. I highly recommend picking up
Thank you.
Not My Boy or one of her other books. Really.
Thank you, Heather.
It's true. I really feel that way.
There it is. Very nice.
Yeah. So on that note, my loves, it is time to wrap. I would like to talk just very briefly about next week. We are going to see Rachel Hans McKinney, who wrote The Butterfly Effect, which is a lovely, upbeat women's fiction sort of romance, vein of romance. And Victoria Shade
like a lampshade.
Shade, yes. And the title of her book, Amy, is Wait. I have
trivia.
I can see the cover. It is
I can too, but
I'm gonna flash it up. Lost, Found, and Forever.
Yes, thank you. I was gonna say something. Victoria, we are actually really excited to have you. So please stop by, you guys. Leave a comment if you'd like to win a copy of Not My Boy, and we will see you next
And it's
Tuesday.
a digital audio copy.
It's an audio copy.
Oh, that's right. Kelly has an audio copy, which is kind of extra cool. So audiobook listeners, leave a comment.
So leave a comment. All right. Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry about my goof at the beginning, and I will post the full video soon. Thank you for coming, Kelly.
See you next
Tuesday.
Bye.